Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. We're so happy that you've decided to join us this morning. You might be a member or a regular attendee, or maybe you've just found us. But regardless, we want you to know that CSL Sarasota is here to support you in finding a personal relationship with the God of your understanding and in discovering what you already know. My name is Jerry Bateman, and I greet you with Namaste. Namaste is Sanskrit, and it means the divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you. We begin this morning, as we always do, by sharing our center's vision statement. And these words can be seen on your screen now. And they are empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. We fulfill the intention of this vision in a number of ways that are outlined in our mission statement. And you can find that on our website, which is cslsarasota.com. Now, as we prepare for our time of prayer and meditation, I invite you to relax into this sacred space and time. Maybe close your eyes, take a deep breath, and focus on the divine presence within you. As Bob Teesdale and Fawny offer a chant entitled, God is, I am.
God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
This day is God's gift, unique among all the days of my life. From dawn to dusk, it is a page to be written on, a song waiting to be sung, a canvas holding space for the artist's expression. God, the creative force and energy behind all, is continuously making all things new, revitalizing and recreating. And in my oneness with God, I participate in this creative process and fashion my life according to divine law. I stand on the threshold of a new beginning and listen with love to the divine voice within, ever guiding, ever shaping this moment of truth. Out of the limitless creativity of God, I accept the flow of new ideas, My whole consciousness is alive, awake, and aware to them. I expect everything in my experience to enlarge, deepen, and broaden. I expect more good, more enthusiasm, more accomplishment than ever before. The now opens up before me a world of new thoughts, new people, new situations. There is nothing in my thought about the past or the future that can in any way deny me the pleasure and privilege of living today as though everything was complete and perfect. The future is bright with possibility and fulfillment. The present is perfect, and nothing in the past can mar it. Not loss, not disappointment, not any lingering fear. With gratitude, I celebrate today and claim all its possibilities as they are realized, knowing that what is given is beautiful and new, offering hope, love, peace, joy, and healing. I release it into the law to unfold just exactly that way, and so it is. This morning, our talk will be given by Reverend Joel Fotinos. Reverend Joel is no stranger to us here at CSL Sarasota. He is an accomplished speaker and author. Joel has worked in communication and publishing for over 3 decades. In fact, bringing the life transformational message of new thought to the world through books is a passion for him. We look forward, as we always do, to his messages. Today's is entitled Root and Reboot, the Internal Voice. But before we hear from Reverend Joel, we'll turn again to Fawny and Bob to set the tone with a song by Karen Drucker, which is called The Beauty in You.
I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength in you, and so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see your light shining through. I see the love that's in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the grace that's in you. I see the courage in you. I see the heart that's in you, and so it is. I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the beauty in you.
I see the beauty in you.
I see the power in you.
I see the power in you.
I see the greatness in you.
I see the greatness in you.
I see the goodness in you.
I see the goodness in you.
I see the wisdom in you.
I see the wisdom in you.
And I see your strength, your strength.
I see the strength in you.
And I see your joy, joy, joy.
I see the joy in you.
I see your light, shining light.
I see the light in you.
I feel the love that's in you.
I see the love that's in you.
And I see the grace that's in you.
I see the grace in you.
I see the courage in you.
I see the courage in you.
I see the heart in you.
I see the heart in you. And so it is.
And so it is.
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be here with you today and to talk about the science of mind in this new year. I send you all my best, and I just know the best for each one of us and for this amazing center for all of the year 2023 and beyond. So today we're going to talk about, the name of the talk is The Internal Song. The Internal Song. And I have to admit, when I first heard that talk title, because that's part of the global theme for the science of mind that the Centers for Spiritual Living are using. And when I first heard that theme, the very first thing that I thought about is something I've probably talked about in the past. But when I first discovered the science of mind, I was so amazed by it. It was so the opposite of the way that I usually thought. It was so positive, and I was such a negative person in some ways. And it just really filled me up so much that I signed up for every class. And I didn't even live that close to the center. This was in Denver, Colorado. So I was in one part of Denver, and it was in another part of Denver, and it was a long drive. So on that drive, I made a mixtape, a cassette tape. Do you remember those mixtapes we used to make? Those were the most important things, I think. You know, sometimes when you were making a mixtape, I wanted to get it just right. Anyway, I made a mixtape of my songs that I would listen to going to the church, the center, Mile High Church is what it was called, and then back. And for each class, because I took classes 3 nights a week, so I listened to that mixtape, those songs that uplifted this beautiful teaching I was learning in the science of mind. So when I heard the name of the talk, the global theme for the week is the internal song, I thought, oh, that mixtape. And I can remember every song on there. And I still listen to those songs. In fact, on my iPhone, I made a version of that mixtape to this day. Music can connect us so much, that internal song. But of course, the internal song means listening to that music, not just in the mixtape outside, but the mixtape inside. We all have a mixtape, and we can create a new mixtape that is positive and wonderful. So, you know, for me, Science of Mind really opened me up. And I know that, you know, one of the things that I went through when I first really opened up to this philosophy was just the unlimitedness and the freedom and all of that. But I also noticed, and I think many others have as well, that other part of me, that ego part of me, also just came right in and wanted to have its say as well. And it kept finding ways to try to limit me back and to get me back to being fear-based. The ego is, in a nutshell, that limited part of ourselves that A Course in Miracles says that there's either love or fear. The ego part of us is the fear. And the love part of us is the part that opens us up. It's the spiritual part of us that continually brings us back to love. In fact, the love part of us is that part of us that is the internal song. And the way we keep going back to love is choice by choice, decision by decision, action by action. Annie Dillard, the Pulitzer Prize winning author, once wrote, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. Because our lives are made up of what we do day by day, hour by hour, thought by thought. That is so science of mind. It's a way to live each day awake and alert to the beauty and gift that is our life. I've noticed that the ego often makes us afraid, or maybe I should say, or it loves to keep us on automatic pilot in that state of kind of numbness or barely enough, not too happy, not too unhappy, just in the middle, just okay, no risk. If I get too happy, then I'll have to feel other things. And not feeling is a convenient way of not living. I often quote, you may have heard me quote this in the past because I quote it a lot, the poet Mary Oliver, who also won a Pulitzer Prize, in one of her poems where she writes, are you barely breathing and calling that a life? One reason I loved Science Mind right from the start is because that it gave me tools to breathe deeply and to live that greater life. It gave me tools so that I could spend my days differently and I could be ruled by my ego less and less. I'm not claiming that it's not there, but less and less. And I could not be on automatic pilot so much. And I could, as Ernest Holmes said, awaken to each day and be newly awakened in it. One tool we have, of course, is spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. Prayer, treatment, works. Many of us have experienced the power of spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. I know I have, and I'm sure many of you have as well. Spiritual mind treatment is a simple but profound process of 5 steps that lead us from our ego to our soul, from our head to our heart, from the limited to the unlimited, or the limitless. Back in those early days when I discovered the science of mind, in those days of that mixtape I talked about, I was in practitioner training. I went through the classes and went into practitioner training. And my teacher, who's the wonderful Dr. Patty Lukenbach, would have us learn science of mind treatment by treating with each other out loud. And also, she would have us write them down. She said that when we wrote down the prayers without laboring or editing, just sit down, take a breath, and just write out our spiritual mind treatments, our affirmative prayers. She said that it allowed us to bypass our thinking mind and go into our heart mind, which I loved. That idea of writing down the prayers is powerful. It's also echoed by Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way. She writes about prayer in her new book, which is called Write for Life, which is a book about creativity and writing, which, by the way, I'm teaching a class on. If you're interested in finally writing that project that you've been wanting to, message me on Facebook and I'll send you the link to the class. And what she writes about in her new book, on page 29 of Write for Life, she says this, and now she's coming at it from the point of view of an artist and a writer, and she's talking about writing down prayers. But even if you don't identify yourself as an artist, this is absolute wisdom for all of us. She says, she talks about writing down prayers, and she says, my secular friends are astonished and even offended by my use of prayer and writing them down. Prayer works, I tell them. And as a working writer, I use anything that will work. Can you relate to that? I'll use anything that will work when I need it. But Julia, they exclaim, isn't using prayer cheating? They make writing sound like a circus trick that must be mastered. I tell them once upon a time, everyone prayed. The inspiration for art routinely was ascribed to a higher power. In these modern times, we're reluctant to name God as our collaborator. And yet, that is the experience of artists throughout the ages. As the composer Brahms remarked, straight away the ideas flow into me directly from God. And as William Blake remarked, not I, but the Holy Spirit does the work. Artists throughout the ages have spoken of the divine origin of their ideas. Composers in particular speak of the muse in music. But all artists, really all of us, experience the spark of the divine. When we write our prayers, we invite a flow of ideas not commonly our own. Listening to the thread of inspiration that leads us from one idea to the next, we often experience a sense of awe. I know I feel that a lot when I do spiritual mind treatment, and especially when I write them down. It is as though we are fitting together a celestial puzzle. And as we place each thought of the prayer on the page, we begin to see the form of what wants to be born through us. The experience of such inspiration is essentially an experience of grace. Divine ideas enter our thoughts. We might write them down, but they lift us up. I know that when I used to write down my prayers or even say them out loud, my ego would say what it wanted. But when I would allow myself to go deeply into spiritual mind treatment, what I wanted was so different. As I lifted my thoughts up, my wants and needs changed. Spiritual mind treatment is a powerful tool. This center has licensed practitioners. If you need help from spiritual mind treatment, it also has classes where you learn how to do spiritual mind treatment and use it in your own life. So please partake in this center's classes and its practitioners. Now, the other thing that Science of Mind does so brilliantly, in addition to teaching us the tool of science of spiritual mind treatment, is to help us to learn that our thoughts are, as Ernest Holmes says, our thoughts are things, meaning that each thought that we think determines the way that we see life, the way that we live life, and the way that we experience life. When we choose to think different thoughts, we have a different experience. That sounds so obvious, and yet it's so powerful. We can look at the same thing or the same event and have a different experience of it by choosing to think differently about it. For example, I won't go into the whole story, just the nuts and bolts of it. I once had a medical diagnosis that was really tough to hear, and it was devastating. And for people who have had medical diagnoses, I think you can understand. I thought that my life was over, that this was the worst thing that had happened to me. However, I'm somebody who really believes in this philosophy and in the science of mind and what we teach. And of course, I immediately worked with a practitioner. And I also decided to turn my thinking around about this experience that I was having. I changed my thoughts about the diagnosis. I first began by just allowing myself to believe that I could think differently about it, which was hard, but I did. And then I began choosing new ideas. And each day that I did this, I got clear and I made new choices. And fairly quickly, those new thoughts had me acting differently as well. I began eating differently. I began moving differently. I began exercising my body more. I began to align my thoughts and actions with my science and mind beliefs. That created this kind of healing momentum. And long story short, that diagnosis was later reversed. it began with a change of thought. It began with just one change of thought, then followed up by another and another, and then matching those new thoughts with new actions, aided by spiritual mind treatment. It was a whole journey, as any of us who have faced any medical issues can attest to, but it changed my life. It was a journey that opened me up so differently, so much so that what I once thought was the worst thing that had happened to me, I now look back and say it was one of the best things that has happened to me, because I allowed myself to think differently about it. And that opened up the door for me to experience it different. Seeing things differently. That reminds me, have you read that great poem? Let me find it. I have it right here in my phone. It's a poem called Pretty Ugly by Abdullah Shoaib. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. And this poem is often on Facebook and other places, and it encapsulates the way of seeing things differently beautifully. Let me read it to you. It's short, but powerful. I just want to show you. I have it on my phone, and you can find it. It's called Pretty Ugly, Pretty Ugly. And it goes like this. I'm very ugly, so don't try to convince me that I am a very beautiful person. Because at the end of the day, I hate myself in every single way. And I'm not going to lie to myself by saying there is beauty inside me that matters. So rest assured, I will remind myself that I am a worthless, terrible person. And nothing you say will make me believe I still deserve love. Because no matter what, I am not good enough to be loved. And I am in no position to believe that. Beauty does exist within me, because whenever I look in the mirror, I always think, am I as ugly as people say? And then at the bottom of the poem, the last line, it says, now read from the bottom up. Same poem, exact same poem, line by line, but instead of reading line by line down, I'm going to read them line by line, moving up. Okay? Same words, line by line, reversed. Am I as ugly as people say? Because whenever I look in the mirror, I always think beauty does exist within me. And I am in no position to believe that I am not good enough to be loved, because no matter what, I still deserve love. And nothing you say will make me believe that I am a worthless, terrible person. So rest assured, I will remind myself there is beauty inside of me that matters. And I am not going to lie to myself by saying, I hate myself in every single way. Because at the end of the day, I am a very beautiful person. So don't try to convince me that I'm very ugly. Isn't that amazing? Same words reversed. That's spirit science of mind in a nutshell. We take our thinkings, our thoughts, and we reverse them, and we have a completely different experience. Now, in closing, let me give you two quick lines from The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. This is our textbook. The first one is found on page 65 of the textbook. You can tell I love it, right? Because not only do I have it highlighted, but I put all these selected. And he very just quickly says, the divine mind is never confused. If you ever feel confused, or if you feel you cannot hear that internal song that we're talking about, declare for yourself, the divine mind is never confused. The divine mind in me is never confused. All that I need to know is revealed to me. I hear the song of the divine in me. So powerful. And lastly, on page 33 of the text, a quote from Ernest Holmes that speaks directly to the eternal voice that bypasses our ego and we hear as our internal song. God is always God. No matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always a something hidden in our inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but there is that eternal voice forever whispering in our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. And so it is. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you today.
When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what's the lesser rule that I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain is, how my heart bends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. Still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment, I remember it comes so clear to me. The minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I can be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows.
Such a beautiful song by Daniel Namad, performed exquisitely by Fawny and Bob. Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Joel, for helping us to understand the power of our inner voice. Now, as we move into our time of offering, we want you to know how grateful we are for your generous financial support of this center. Because of your support, CSL Sarasota is able to bring its vision and mission to life and to support you in countless ways in your spiritual journey. There are 3 easy ways for you to share your offering. So the first thing is to go to our website through the URL www.cslsarasota.com. Then on the left side of your screen, select the donate button, which will bring up several options for making a contribution. So you could contribute via PayPal or by credit card. You could mail a check to our address. You can also set up automatic contributions through your own online banking. Selecting the Donate Now button will open the PayPal window for you. So now I invite you to place your hand over your heart as you reflect on your gift, blessing it as you share it, and know this with me. My gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me, multiplied abundantly. Now, please join me in offering our affirmation, which you will see on your screen. I give thanks that I may share of my good, my love, and my support. Again, thank you so much. If you would like prayer support, I'd like to draw your attention to the green prayer request button, again on our website, and use this feature to send us your prayer request. Know that our 5 licensed spiritual practitioners, Kathleen Frankett, Ron Frost, Nicole Leeds, Sean Scanlon, and Jim Grove, are available to know and affirm spiritual truth with you and for you in whatever challenge you might be experiencing. They're also available for 1-hour spiritual coaching sessions by appointment. So for more information, again, check our website under the staff link at the left side of the screen and select practitioners. Here on our website, you can also sign up to receive our weekly email newsletter. 2, you'll also want to check out our Facebook page for posts about upcoming events. So I have a couple of announcements for you this morning. First of all, thank you to all of you who attended our town hall meeting last Sunday, where we discussed the future of CSL Sarasota. It was a robust and thoughtful exchange of ideas, providing insight into a path forward. The members resoundingly approved our integration with CSL Cultural Coast. So in the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear about these exciting plans as they are more fully developed. So stay tuned for that. Our spiritual living circle meets via Zoom every Wednesday evening for 1 hour from 7 to 8 p.m. to discuss an article from the current month's issue of Science of Mind magazine. And I can personally attest to the fact that the Wednesday evening circle is a wonderful opportunity for spiritual development and thoughtful conversations with other like-minded individuals. If you'd like to participate, all you need to do is email Jim Grove at the address shown on your screen, and he'll send you the Zoom link, the article, and the discussion guide. This Wednesday, we'll discuss the article by Carol Carnes entitled The Root of Things. Now, as we conclude this sacred time together, let's move forward into the week ahead with enthusiasm and anticipation of the next chapter for CSL Sarasota, knowing that Spirit is supporting and guiding us in our journey. And let's join together in singing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Thank you for being here with us, and have a great week, everyone.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my song.